Okay, so imagine you're living your normal, ordinary life. Everything is kind of boring until one night your friend, who you haven't heard from in ages, she calls you up and it's kind of late, but you answer anyway. And when you answer, she's acting kind of weird. She sounds a bit upset or anxious about something. She asks if you want to hang out and get some drinks like you used to do. You're not doing anything else, so you head over straight away. And when you get there, you ring the bell and there's no answer. She knows you're coming round and you know the code, so you let yourself in to look for her. You find a box, and inside the box there's a note. At this point you're starting to get really worried for your friend, so you're looking everywhere, and it takes a while, but when you finally do find her, she's dead. But something I didn't mention earlier is that you're also an ex-bodyguard, highly skilled in combat, and now you're going to stop at nothing until you fulfill your friend's final request. This is Ballerina. So this movie was released in October 2023 on Netflix, and it's an action-packed revenge thriller. This was both written and directed by director Lee Chung-hyeon, who is known for his 2015 short film called Bargain, which was actually his debut project, and it was definitely an interesting watch. As well as his 2020 film, which is also on Netflix, called The Call, and that received very good reviews. Other people who worked on this film was art director Kim Min-hee and music director Gray, and it was actually his music directing debut on this film. And I think just the fact that they had a crew of younger people and newer filmmakers gave it a really refreshing tone, and it just seemed like they all really knew what they wanted to create for this film. So the main actors in this film are Jeon Jong-seo, who plays the main character Ok-ju, Kim Ji-hoon, who plays the main villain, and Park Yu-rim, who plays Min-hee. They all gave really good performances, and I think all the actors done an incredible job. I thought it had pretty good pacing and structure, and even from the very first scene, the tone is really well set up for the rest of the movie, and it really just hooks you in. And it was a really cool way that they introduced Ok-ju. And then throughout the film, we learn about Min-hee's and Ok-ju's friendship through these really beautiful flashbacks. And I think they worked really well. I don't think they disrupted the pacing of the film at all. Whilst the plot can seem a little bit predictable at times, I think what really gives it more depth is the ode to real-life cases of sexual exploitation, blackmail and trafficking. For example, there did seem to be a lot of parallels to the 2019 Burning Sun scandal, or the Nth Room case. YouTuber Rotten Mango has 2 really good in-depth videos on both of these, and there's also a really interesting Netflix documentary if you did want to know more about these. Like I said before, the plot can seem a bit predictable at times, but I think it definitely makes up for this with its dreamlike cinematography, aesthetic and colour grading. Like, even with shots which would normally just be like so mundane, just the pop of colour which is used just makes it so much more interesting. And the way the flashbacks use really soft pastel colours with this really comforting glow, and then it's contrasted to the scenes in the present, which are a lot darker, and they use more green and like neon lighting in some bits. And then even the scenes with like a lack of colour are really impactful, and it's just really clear that everything was done with a lot of intention and care. The special effects, camera work and choreography of the fight scenes were definitely another strong point of this film. There were some really cool, unusual camera tilts, which really made you feel like immersed in a lot of the fight scenes. And the way the music synced to a lot of the action. In an interview, Gray said that the fight scenes were almost meant to kind of mirror like an actual ballet performance, which I think came across really well. Something I did notice was that there was a lot of fast, snappy cuts and shaky camera movements during the fight scenes, which I thought did work well with the fast pacing and trying to keep the adrenaline of the scene. But I can see how maybe some people would find it a bit hard to follow. And it might have just been nicer to have a clearer view of the fight choreography, because it was really good. Sometimes it just felt a little bit cut short. So overall, the film received pretty mostly positive reviews. It got a 91% on Rotten Tomatoes and 6.2 out of 10 on Internet Movie Database, as well as some other good reviews on other platforms as well. Something which I do think could have been better is the length of the film. It had a runtime of about an hour and 30 minutes, and I don't say this about a lot of films nowadays because normally they are just way too long. I really think it could have been longer. I think it would have been nice to have seen even more flashbacks of their friendship, and I think if it was longer it would have given them more chance to delve a bit deeper into some of the characters and maybe learn about their pasts and their motivations for why they're doing what they're doing. And now for the big question, is Ballerina a female John Wick? No. And a lot of people are comparing it to John Wick, and I don't know why. I guess there are some similarities because they're both revenge action dramas, and funny enough there is actually a female John Wick spin-off with the exact same name, which is a weird coincidence. And I think it might have caused a little bit of confusion, but I don't get why people keep grouping them together because I'd say they're pretty different. And if you do go in kind of thinking, oh, this is a female John Wick, I don't really think you'll find what you're looking for. If you did want a film which is more similar to John Wick, I'd probably say Netflix's Kill Boksoon is more accurate than Ballerina. Now, if you know anything about South Korean cinema, you probably know something that they're kind of good at is revenge movies. They've made a few in this genre. Just a few. Usually these films have some big twists and turns, and whilst Ballerina may not be as complex as some of these other films in terms of its narrative, I think it holds up pretty well, and I'd say it's definitely earned its place as a good Korean revenge drama.
나야, Ballerina.
So hopefully that helped you make your mind up if you want to watch it, if you haven't already. Personally, I would definitely give it a watch, and if you're still not convinced, there's a really cool scene with a flamethrower.